Well, I got in a spray gun to be cleaned and repaired, and it's pretty ugly looking. A lot of paint on it, but hopefully we'll get this all cleaned up and repaired. Well, I'm sure we will. Now the customer is complaining that this this knob that adjusts the spray pattern is not working, and I can see that it's turning, but I think it's stripped on the inside. So let's start taking this apart so that we can clean it. Now this pressure tube looks brand new, so I'm just gonna take it off, and we won't even put that in the cleaner. Now let's take off the air cap setup here, and I'm taking off the let me see if I got one here. There we go. Well, the air cap's in there pretty loose. Too loose actually, but maybe he is just trying to clean it out. So we got the air cap off, and it's missing a seal there. We'll have to replace that. Okay, let's take off the adjusting knob and the spring. Take out the needle. It comes out pretty easily, so that's not a big deal. Let's take the adjustment here for the spray pattern off. See what we got here. Looks like it's glued in there with paint. Yep, it's not coming easy. I'll put this in the vise. Oh, it's glued in there really well. Let me see what I've got here. Okay, that's 5/8. Might work. Okay, let's see what happens now. Oh, that got it. And this brass piece, I don't know. I'll probably have to replace that. Yeah, it's glued in there pretty tight. I guess I'll put it in the ultrasonic cleaner for a while before I try to, again, to get that out. this nipple now. That's the only way I can get this piece off. This swivel attachment for the hose is not swiveling, so it's got to be glued in there with paint too. Okay, put that on. Now that's the gasket. You have to scrape that out, and we'll put a new one in there. There we go. Yeah, that's good.
Still here. You see here?
Yeah, that one's full of junk. Look at all that junk.
Stuck in here. It's stuck.
Oh, yeah. Might have to replace that if we can't get it out.
Okay.
How's that fitting on the top?
Here?
I mean, is it opening up? Or is it clogged on the inside? Well, we'll find out later. Oh, look what's coming out of that spray gun. It is real dirty on the inside. Look at all that junk. I mean, the outside cleaned up real nice. Ooh. This T75 spray gun is looking nice and clean now. So we'll just start putting it back together. Cup got pretty clean. There's a cup lid. And the spray gun. Okay, we'll start with the front. First thing we have to put on is a 5205 air diffuser seal. Because if you remember on the earlier part of the video, that seal was missing. So we got a new one for them, for the customer. Now that just kind of lays on there. And then we got the air diffuser. Let's see, first we put this on. And it goes right like that, and you got to line up a hole with the hole on the spray gun body. Then you see this little piece that comes out here. That goes in through that hole. And it gets a little tricky sometimes because this seal wants to just flop around. Okay, now that just all kind of stays there until you put the fluid nozzle in. Which has to be tightened really well. Okay. Next, we put in this. Let's see which piece. Here we go. The valve, air valve, it goes in here. And this part goes in here and gets screwed in. I forgot the spring. Spring goes in there. Now this one, often hard to get it started because you got the spring pushing back against it. But once you get going, it's fine. Now that screws it in with a 5/8 inch. Okay, next we put in a needle. Now it's a good idea to lubricate it, and what I like to use is Vaseline. And just stick that in there. And we got the needle spring and the fluid adjustment knob. Go in there and tighten up. Now that should be pretty well aligned and everything. I'll check it with the when I test the spray gun. Make sure that there's no leakage. If you ever have leakage right here coming from the needle up front here, the best way to go about it is to take the needle out, clean it off, lubricate it, put it back in, then tighten this nut here as tight as it will go. And what happens is you set that the needle packing. It squeezes around the needle and stops the flow of junk or paint or whatever backwards. And you tighten it as tight as it will go until when you pull it back and let it go, it doesn't want to go forward. Then you come back here and you gradually loosen it just a hair until it goes back on its own. You might have to do it a few times, and if you do it a few times and nothing, it just keeps leaking, and maybe your needle packing is shot and you need to put in new needle packing. That doesn't happen that much. It does on older spray guns that have been sprayed a long time and stuff has sat around, dried up in there, and it causing it to the needle packing to be very hard and not wrap around the needle. But that doesn't happen that often. But when it does, you take this needle out, you take this nut out, and then you literally dig out the old packing. If it's that bad, it's going to be in there pretty tough. It's going to take a lot of digging. Maybe it's full of paint and gunk that's dried and hardened. And that's the hardest part about changing the needle packing, is getting that old packing out. Once it's out, the new packing will slip in there quite easily, and then you just go ahead and go through this procedure to tighten the packing around the needle and test it and everything, and it should work out. Okay, the next thing I'm going to put in is, if you remember on the earlier part of the video, we had a problem with the fan control. Now, this is the piece I took out of there, and I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty well chewed up. It really was in there tough. I had to really yank at it and get it out. So we're putting in the new one. So first thing we do is, with the Vaseline, is lubricate this in here so that this thing can turn freely. And lubricate it here. And put it in. And this goes in here like that. Hopefully.